We acknowledge we are hosted on the lands of the Mississaugas of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Wendat. We also recognize the enduring presence of all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples.
Hello, and welcome to Tips and Tricks for Helping Children Return to School. My name is Ashan Siddiqui, and I'm a psychologist with the TDSB. Yvonne Wyndham, a speech-language pathologist, and I will be presenting you with some ideas to make your family's transition back to school as easy as possible. We cover several topics in a collection of videos. This particular video is on getting ready for school expectations. Some of our other topics are preparing for change, improving focus, and managing feelings of anxiety. We also have one that is dedicated to helping older students that covers much of the information in these other 4 videos. The videos can be viewed in any order, so please feel free to watch them as you prefer. The last few months have been unprecedented for everyone. I can't remember any time when children have been away from the school building for such a long period of time. So they've been at home and learning at home, but the school and home expectations are generally quite different. There's usually much more free choice at home. So children will need some time and practice to get back into the routine of school expectations. Even looking just briefly at our comic, we can see that the children might need a little bit more time just to readjust to writing in full words rather than in text format. The purpose of this presentation is to help you get your children ready for school demands. Before we talk about a few strategies that might be helpful in terms of getting students ready to follow instructions and routines and complete tasks, we would like to take a few minutes just to go over using visuals and how you can use them best at school.
Home.
So I will pass it over to Yvonne for that piece.
Visuals are a way to make communication physical and consistent, but for some kids, spoken language can be too fast to process and can also be inconsistent depending on who is speaking. Visuals can stay put and you can look at them often or for as long as you need. However, speech only stays for a moment and disappears. Visual supports help kids to process and understand spoken information. Visuals help kids to communicate better when they don't have the words to let us know what their feelings, emotions, or thoughts are. Visuals can reduce the cognitive load placed on the brain when your child is trying to understand or use a new language skill. Visual supports can also help to provide structure and routine at home. They can help your child to be more independent, build their confidence, and provide opportunities to interact with others. So visuals are anything we can see. There are a range of symbols that can be represented by different visuals. In the hierarchy of visuals, objects and photographs would be easier to understand than words. Children who are not reading would benefit from pictures. Objects are the most concrete and easiest visual to understand. For earlier developing children, so those children whose cognitive and language abilities are somewhat limited, real, actual-sized objects may be required. For others, miniature objects may be enough. Photographs are the next type of visual in the hierarchy. Line drawings in color are usually easier for some kids to understand than black and white. Words are the highest, most abstract level of visuals in the hierarchy. We tend to think of using English words, but we can also use words from your first language, like apple in Chinese, or you can even use Braille. As a family, you can create or co-create with your children lots of different visual tools, such as schedules, choice boards, and social stories. We're going to talk about how you can use them in a meaningful and practical way in this webinar. This slide shows an example of using different types of symbols to help children organize different parts of their day, using visuals made of objects, photos, and words. In this slide, we see how you can use your own line drawings to help a child count down until it's time for them to stop or start an activity or task. It doesn't have to be fancy, and you don't have to be a great artist. To make the visuals last longer and for them to be more sturdy, try using cardboard or cardstock as a base. You could use cracker boxes or cereal boxes. And to hold the visuals in place, you could use other household items like clothespins or masking tape. As a family, you can create videos of family members that shows an activity or an expected behavior. You can also create a video of your child doing the activity or expected behavior. And another way is to break the activity or the behavior skill into steps and record each step. As with all types of visuals, you should have your child watch the video frequently to help them understand and learn the new skill, eventually fading it out as they learn the skill. The next slide is going to show an example of a mum using a social script video to help her kids know what to do when they're frustrated during schoolwork time at home. She can use the video whenever she needs to remind her children of the target skill.
Mom, I don't get this. I need help.
Okay, let me take a quick look.
I don't get this word. It's so frustrating.
Okay, I'll get back to you. Let me take a look. So guys, this morning I noticed that we were having a little bit hard time with schoolwork. Sophia, you were saying that you needed a lot of help, and Carmen, you were getting frustrated because you didn't understand some of the words. So I thought maybe we can come up with a strategy to help us. And one of the things that I was reading about was something called a social script. And I looked online and they had a couple of good ones, but I think what we need to do is come together and with some good ideas that work for us in terms of what we can do when we don't understand what we have to do with our schoolwork. So when there's something that you don't understand, can you figure out a couple of things that you can do to try and help yourself understand the instruction a bit better?
I think I can read it again.
Perfect. Yeah, you can totally reread it again because maybe there's something that you missed at the beginning. Is there anything else?
You could either highlight or circle the words that you don't know, and you could look it up in the dictionary because that's what my teacher tells us.
That's great. So that's something that you do at school, that you circle or you highlight the words that you don't know and then look it up in the dictionary. Perfect. I love those two strategies. Okay, guys, let's take a look at the social script that we wrote and read it together.
Sometimes when I try to do schoolwork, I feel frustrated. When I feel like that, there are some things that I could do.
I can read it again.
I can circle the words I don't know and look them up in the dictionary.
I can ask my sister.
Or I could call a friend.
If I still don't understand, I can email my teacher or ask my mom and dad.
I am proud when I try my best at school.
Okay, guys, I'm really glad that we had a chance to work on this social script yesterday. I think it's going to help Mommy as she works from home, and hopefully it will help you with your schoolwork and make you feel less frustrated. I think it's really great that we wrote it all down, so it'll remind us of the strategies that we talked about. And I think what we'll do when we work together today is I'll keep it right here so that if you do need a reminder as to what your strategies are, you can just refer to it right here in the middle. Okay?
Okay.
Okay?
The strategies for task completion and following routines that we will be covering in this video include choice, reinforcement, and break. When we talk about choice, we are really talking about providing children with options that will allow them to feel more in control. So they have the chance to make a decision, but in general, it's the parents or staff who are the ones who are structuring the choice of the tasks. When the children are feeling more in control, they may be more willing to do what's being asked and feel better about the situation in general. When you first start off giving choices to your children, you would start giving them options of activities that they enjoy doing. So ask them to choose between things they like doing a puzzle or drawing a picture. And activities can be anything that children can do independently. Try using pictures or objects with younger children or those with special needs in order to make the options clear to them. So, would you like to do a puzzle or would you like to do some coloring? Over time, it will be important to start asking your children to do less preferred activities. For example, do you want to help wash the dishes or take out the garbage? Gradually, you should also be increasing the amount of time that they're expected to do the activities. You would want to start with brief periods of time, anywhere between 1 to 5 minutes, and build up to longer periods, like 15 to 20 minutes. If possible, use a timer to help keep track of the time. Reinforcement is another strategy that will be helpful in trying to get our children to follow rules and routines. Reinforcement is a way to change behavior. When our behavior is followed by a positive consequence or reinforcement, the targeted behavior is more likely to increase. So generally, parents would be providing a reason or motivation for their children to perform a behavior by giving them something they like or want. Then the children would be more likely to perform the behavior again at another time. So here are some ideas for reinforcers that you can use at home. Playtime with toys, fun family activities, preferred snacks, praise, and one-on-one time with a parent. Easy way to use reinforcement is to use the first then strategy. The first is the behavior the child has to complete, and then is the reward or the reinforcer for completing the task. The then is not the next activity on a to-do list. You can use either verbal instructions to do first then or use visuals to do first then. So in this example here, we have first study, then play. You could simply say that instruction to your child, or you could use visuals to let them know what it is that they're expecting and what they will get for following through with the behavior that you are asking them to do. Our next strategy is providing breaks. To avoid overwhelming your children, allow them to have breaks when they need them, especially when they're first starting off doing the tasks that maybe they don't like so much. They might need more breaks than maybe later on. You would want to keep the breaks as short as possible, 1 to 2 minutes, for example. Just giving them some time to even stretch would be good. You can time the breaks if necessary. And you would also want to make sure that the task is completed when the break is over, so they're not just using the breaks as a way of getting or escaping the task that you're asking them to do. Also, you would want to consider using visuals for requesting breaks with children who have trouble expressing themselves verbally. So whether it's a sign or they're pointing at the door, or you have a picture that they can point to request a break, just trying to make it easier to let you know that they need a break. So here are a few things to remember from this particular video. Home and school expectations can be different. Generally, there are usually more free choices at home and more demands at school. Children need to prepare for the increase in demands so that they don't become upset and overwhelmed when they begin school and are suddenly faced with the increase in demands. To help children get used to following instructions, routines, and completing tasks, use the strategies of choice, reinforcement, and breaks at home. Use visuals whenever possible with children who have language difficulties so that they understand expectations or to help them express their needs. Thank you for watching our video on preparing your children for school expectations. Please consider watching some of our other videos for more information. We hope that these videos are a help to you. Thanks again.